The other question I get asked about a lot is when to prime. So I actually think there are more circumstances when you're going to need to prime than there are when you're going to need to sand. And I'm going to throw out a couple of different names here, but once again, don't get bogged down with the brand. Just go out and buy some primer and start painting, okay? There are water-based primers like, this one, Zinsser, Bin. And this has a synthetic shellac in it. And so it's good for covering up. It's a very good water-based primer. Sometimes Kilz, K-I-L-Z or Z, also has a good primer, is a good primer. 123, some people use that. My current favorite, I'm gonna give you my secret here. This is my current favorite. It's Cico Go Prime, and it's a water-based alkali emulsion. And it's known for, it's got really, really good adhesion. The two things I really like about it, and I'm not going to do a lot of like brand promotions in these videos, but the two things I like about it is the adhesion is really good. So it sticks and it's thin. I find a lot of times the primer with good adhesion is very thick and gloopy and leaves a lot of brush marks. So that's the reason I particularly like this. I don't even know. I got it at Lowe's. I don't know if it's Cico is a Lowe's brand. I don't even know that. So, but that's just, so, but it doesn't matter. Just go buy a primer, ask them for something with good adhesion and start painting with it. These also come in spray cans. I'm going to tell you that I don't usually use spray cans. I'm just not good at getting even coverage with spray cans. You may be better than I am and that would work well for you. Okay, here's the situations where you might need to prime. The first one is when you have a glossy finish. We talked about that. So even after I use the deglosser or the liquid sander, I'll often put a couple coats of water-based primer on just to ensure good adhesion. The reason that glossy finish is a problem is that it isn't porous. So the paint has a hard time sticking. It's like trying to get something porous to stick to glass. I guess things stick to glass, but they peel off too, right? So that's the problem. So you can get stuff to stick, but it peels off too. So if the other situation is if you're painting over pressboard or like an IKEA dresser or something, I think it's worth your time and money to use actually a good oil-based primer because again, there's no way to make it porous. And so you need something that's going to stick to it before you put your paint on it. All right. Oops, I'm going the wrong way here. So if you're going to be using white over pretty much anything, white or a light color, I use primer just as a base coat, so I'm not using so much of my chalk paint, of my more expensive chalk paint, because it gets better coverage. So I usually do a couple coats of primer and then I'll use my chalk paint. I want to talk about white paint here for a minute. And one of the issues that you may run into, whether if you're using white paint or any kind of light colored paint, is that if you're doing it on wood, is that you're going to get bleed through. So what'll happen is you'll do a coat of paint and you'll discover that a coat or two, and then all of a sudden this yellow or rusty color starts to show through. And I'm going to tell you guys, you can paint that sucker 10 times and it's still going to show through. It's called tannins. I don't even fully understand it. I don't need to understand it. I just need to know what to do with it. The easiest solution is shellac. Like literal shellac. This is what I use. Bullseye Zinsser shellac. Okay. And it goes on, I'll usually do like 2 thin coats and it dries really quickly. So it's smelly. I'm not going to lie. It's smelly. It dries pretty quickly though. So you can do 2 thin coats pretty quickly. That will stop your stain from coming through, those tannins from coming through. And then sometimes I just give up and paint the darn thing black because I'm tired of fighting with it. But that's a good solution is shellac. That's probably the only solution that you're going to find. Okay, let's finish off this video by talking about stripping furniture. Don't go there, furniture. So if you've ever had to strip furniture, you know it's messy. You know that it's time consuming, it's smelly, it's crappy work. I don't really like it. I strip for 2 reasons. I strip when I'm going to stain something. like a buffet top. I just had one that I did that on. And I strip when the varnish is so old that it's splitting and crackling like crackle paint, like a very textured orange peel. And there's no getting it off. It's sort of baked on there over the years. In Canada, it's getting very hard to find good strippers. I went in at one point and they had taken to Home Depot and they'd taken it all off the shelf because of the various chemicals in it. So you're just going to have to go and see what's available to use it. I'm just going to show you a couple that I use here. This is just me. This is not, I'm not promoting any of these. I just go to the store and see where I can, what's available. And so I've used this Natura Safe Strip. There's lots of good safe alternatives out there. They just take a lot more work. Let's just be honest. I just recently used this. Now, I think I got this in the States. This is a gel. Gel is really nice. This is, oh, I'm not even going to try and say it. You can read it backwards. Figure it out. So I just used this on a buffet top that I was doing. And I liked it. So what I will do is I will put a coat of the stripper on, and then I cover it with saran wrap to whatever baking time it says. So like if it says that to leave it sit for 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, I'll put the saran wrap on, I'll let it sit for 15 minutes, pull the saran off. And then I get my scraper and a paper towel, and I scrape, and then you'll have gunk, and I wipe, and then I scrape, and I wipe, and you'll go through lots of paper towels. I don't do it random like that. When you scrape, you're gonna go with the wood grain, okay? Make sure you don't dig in too deep because your scraper can actually gouge the wood. You don't want that, okay? So that's what I would do with stripper. And again, if you're gonna paint it, you don't have to, depending, if you're gonna stain it, then you strip it and sand it. If you're going to paint it, you strip it till it's smooth, and you might do a light sanding just to get, make sure it's smooth. Sorry, before you sand it, you're going to use something like a mineral spirits that cleans off the stripper. Any residue that's left, you need to clean that off. Okay? All right. I'm done that. Okay. So basically, I've given you some of the deeper details of prep here. And honestly, that's the beauty of chalk paint. You don't have to do a ton of prep. If you hear nothing else from what I say today, I want you to get your wipes and just clean it and start painting. Our next video is going to be about how to choose the paint among the millions of options that you have. And I'm really excited to go through that with you because, again, I don't want you to get bogged down with the overwhelm. I just want you to do it. I just want you to paint because painting is fun. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.